We were, one of several teams that were searching far and wide for the best talent and the right fit. Global basketball was emerging. The players were important to scout.
We kind of looked at the game a little bit differently than a lot of franchises.
They've found a way to not only look beyond the city and beyond the province and beyond the country, but to the world.
You lose a player of the caliber of Vince Carter and his scoring ability, you need to replace that scoring. And we have other players on this team that are capable of stepping up, and we don't have a guy that has the talent level of Vince Carter now. But we have guys that now I think will have an opportunity to blossom more.
Want to be a great player, I have to step up one day and take on the responsibility. So, whether it's me stepping up saying I want to do it or me being thrown in the fire, some way I'm going to have to, take on that responsibility.
It has been rather difficult following the ins and outs of the Raptors right now, and I mean a lot of outs. Let's bring you up to date. Alonzo Mourning has been bought out. Eric Williams has wanted out. Rafer Alston acted out. Is the roof falling in here?
Well, the roof may not be falling in, but it certainly is leaking. And you have Rob Babcock, the general manager, and Sam Mitchell, the coach, up on top, trying to hammer down some shingles and get this operation under control.
What a first year for Sam Mitchell. Trades, turmoil, you name it, and he's got in the middle of it all.
Well, this is a lot of soul searching going on for the Raptors to get this thing turned around,
to see the look in everybody's faces, Chuck, exactly where this team stands right now.
It was tough. You almost felt like you were kind of back in the infancy days of expansion, where I go, hey, we got out of it, we're good, but it seemed that we fell back in it.
every franchise goes through the ups and downs, and we were going through the building. As much as we didn't have success, you know that things are cyclical and it's going to come around eventually.
Everybody can't do this job because of all the moving parts. In college, you get to recruit the type of players that you want. In the NBA, when you take over a team, this is your team.
It was just like having your worst fears and like the stereotypes about like being the only Canadian team in the NBA confirmed, that people didn't want to play here.
You had to probably think a little more creative as a front office if there was that like, oh, I can't go up there to Canada, oh, we're in kilometers and stuff like that.
All the silliness you hear and just the egotistical Americans thinking like, oh, how cold is it going to be cold all the time?
Why are we chasing guys that don't want to come here? Go and find other guys that would relish the opportunity to come here. Like Rob Babcock found José Calderón.
It was a weird team because we were like kind of like moving into what was next. Maybe the biggest adjustment for me. I lost probably 5, 6, 7 games the whole season. My last season in Europe, Spain, and we start 0-10.
With a season of 66 points, they're going to win 15 overall.
81-point game. I've never seen anything like this.
Tough pill to swallow for the Raptors. The Raptors now will go to 14-21.
Well, I'm here today to announce that Rob Babcock has been relieved of his duties as general manager of the Toronto Raptors.
This is, something that was a surprise to me. And they gave me that opportunity. I'm disappointed that I didn't get to finish that off, but that's the nature of the game. And I think that the nucleus, as I've said before, is here for the future of this team to grow and to develop into a contending team.
We said that we were going to strive to hire a president and general manager for the Raptors that was very experienced and proven in the NBA. Today, I'm delighted to announce that we have done just that. Bryan knows the international basketball scene and has great credibility and contacts right across the NBA. Bryan was our #1 candidate for the job right from the start.
Bryan, I think you're going to be as pleased and impressed as I have been in my time here, so welcome.
I thought it was a really interesting opportunity,
blaze a new trail, if you will. Coming in mid-season was a little bit odd. I had a team that was headed to the playoffs, but the opportunity was just too good to pass up, and I felt like it was the right decision long-term for me in my career, and it worked out very favorably.
I'm very excited, though, about the offseason.
There's many different scenarios that can occur. I think there's, as we said, a lot of optimism. I think Bryan Colangelo offers instant respect around the league for Toronto.
This organization is right now on a springboard about to make some very big strides, and that's what we're aiming to all be part of.
I was 17 years old when I started coaching. My first job was I was assistant coach for a year with under 16 and under 18 teams. And then I became a head coach of the same teams that were my teammates.
I was 19 years old when I started coaching, and a couple of years after Darko, and I played, actually my last year of playing, I coached a team at the same time.
NBA is becoming much more closer to international game, especially to European game, Europe. I remember when I was a young coach coaching in Serbia, I was watching a lot of college basketball because the rules and two halves and it just was much closer to each other. Right now, NBA game is much closer to your league than college.
I would say now for those young guys, it's because of those differences are smaller between EuroLeague and NBA, the style of play and everything. I think they're just easier to NBA style. I think it used to be the rule in Europe, if you're best player in EuroLeague, you're moving into the NBA. So top 5 best players from Europe, they had a chance to move and play in the league. I think now with the scouting, with everything that NBA teams are doing, they're trying to discover early who's potentially who could be the player who can play in NBA, and that changed a lot.
Who's going to fire away?
Would you like to win the lottery?
I think it would be nice, yeah. Absolutely. There's a lot of time between now and the draft. The results of the lottery will determine how much leverage we have. We're looking at it as a chance to just bring some finality to the draft order and give us an opportunity to really ascertain what our options are. A lot of conversation about a lot of players.
We never get these guys until after Orlando anyway.
Isn't it wild how wide open it is, though? I mean, from 1 to 10, it could be any order. I mean, if we all put down the names right now, it'd be a disaster. Get the heart beating a little bit.
3 teams remain. Some big changes at the top.
Second pick goes to the Chicago Bulls. And that means that the number 1 pick in the 2006 NBA draft goes to
Appreciate it.
the Toronto Raptors.
Thank you.
Bryan Colangelo from the line.
As the season of that draft started to come together when we won the lottery and all of a sudden we had the pick of the litter, there was no unanimous pick in the draft at that moment. That's at least the way we saw it. I think the way 29 other teams probably saw it. We had brought Maurizio Gherardini in as an executive vice president, and he kept talking about Andrea. He kept saying, this is an Italian kid. And we would joke, come on, there's not many Italian players in the NBA, and it's going to take a lot for him to make it. But you look at the other players that were selected, there were other issues about them. There were injury issues. And everything that we looked at, we just said, here's a wing versus here's a 6'11" player.
I think everything started in 2004, 2005, when the Benetton Treviso played the friendly preseason game in Toronto against the Raptors. I had a very good game to be 17 years old against an NBA team. I had something like, I don't remember, 14, 15 points. From that moment going forward, the scouts went back and forth to Treviso to see me, and everybody was talking about me, month after month up to the draft. I didn't even know what the NBA draft was up to 3 years before the draft. Nobody ever talked about the NBA draft in Italy. No one.
With the first pick in the draft, 2006 NBA draft, Toronto Raptors will select Andrea Bargnani.
Honestly, growing up as an Italian kid from Rome, you couldn't have the NBA as an ultimate dream because there was something unreachable. I definitely didn't grow up with the dream of being called number one at the NBA draft.
Andrea, Bryan Colangelo, congratulations. We think you're going to be a terrific NBA basketball player, and we want you to be a star here in Toronto.
When I knew that I was going to Toronto, I knew I was expecting my transition outside the court to be very easy. I lived in Toronto better than I was living in Treviso in Italy. I was more comfortable in Toronto than in Italy, life-wise, outside the basketball court. I knew it was a very nice city, cool city, a lot of Italians. It was more than easy. It was, Toronto for me still is a second home. I love Toronto, I love Canada. I go there often, and I'm in love with Toronto and Canadians overall.
This is just, I think, indicative of the kind of reception that the city has been giving the Raptors recently, and we're just excited, and we want to deliver. We want to do everything we can not to disappoint for those high expectations, and I know there's a lot of people that are hopeful to get things moving in terms of putting a better product out there, and we're here to do that. That year, we wanted to make an immediate statement. We went out and got TJ Ford in a trade that, kind of set the tone for the direction we were going to go.
I was totally shocked when I got traded. Coming to a team with a good friend of mine, Chris Bosh, it made things a lot easier, a lot smoother. And after I got over that initial shock.
Garbajosa being such a glue piece.
Bryan Colangelo told me when he signed him, he's going to be your Swiss utility knife.
He asked me, hey, we maybe get your guy here. For me, it was yes. Great, why not?
I had a decent career at that moment here in Europe. And in Treviso, I met Maurizio Gherardini. Before the season, he proposed me to go there. In that moment, I was deciding to finally accept the offer to go to Toronto to play. To go to a new country, everything was new, but honestly, it was one of the best choices of my life.
Anthony Parker, he was not only looking for a chance to come home, he was coming to a place that he was going to be welcome.
He's a legend here in Europe. He was the best player, MVP of the EuroLeague, like a couple of years, 3 years together. Very well respected here in Europe.
Parker counts as a European player, doesn't count as an American player.
Felt like he was a European team for sure. You here in Canada, right? It was very different for me, very diverse.
I remember that was the first time, I think, in the history of NBA that a team was so international and so European. There was Chris Bosh, TJ Ford, and then this crew of European international players.
For us, basketball IQ was something that we really dialed in on. That team was constructed with that in mind.
In Europe, you go to basketball academies, so you're coached by professional coaches from the time you're a kid on up.
It was interesting that that's how we try to build a team. We all came from different cultures. That was kind of breaking edge for the Raptors.
Anytime you turn over a roster that much and 9 new faces on a team, it's pretty challenging to bring it all together quickly. We got off to a little bit of a rocky start coming out of the gate. We had a chance to be better than we were performing.
I remember the first games of the season were like crazy. We lost like 8 games out of 10.
We were playing in Memphis, and we got just mollywopped. They just ran us off the floor in Memphis. And I'm coming down the tunnel and ready to light into the team, and I get to the door, and I hear Chris Bosh just screaming and cursing and just going off. And the coach said, "Coach, we better get in there. Chris is going crazy." The trainer came out and told me, I said, "Nope. We've been waiting for this." That was the night I knew we were a team, because our best player and our captain understood you got to give up yourself. You got to be connected to the guys. You got to lead them. And that was the night our season turned around.
He was a true example for a rookie. Even if I was older, I was a rookie, and he was one of the most iconic players in the league in that moment.
You got to play Kevin Garnett one night. You got to go up against Shaq the next night. He was competing against the best every night, and he was showing that he was that caliber of player.
A lot of things went right because we started to all believe.
Garbajosa, Bosh for 3.
It was a great mix. I think everybody accepted their roles. I think it was a really nice mix of cultures. Having breakfast together, having dinner together, we live more like a European team than an NBA team outside of the court. And that definitely helped as far as chemistry.
Everybody was really, really cool. We spent a lot of time together, being able to take these guys that had success in the European leagues and being able to give them, that opportunity of what it is to be an NBA basketball player and compete. I mean, we had a lot of fun here in Toronto. Picked up smoking cigars from those guys, Spanish guys.
In Spain, it's very normal that after a long lunch, a family lunch or friends lunch, you have a drink together and you have a cigarette together. And I used to do it. I never hide.
People helping each other, putting the team first. It was real. It was a real good atmosphere all around.
You start to, match up with the colleagues, with the players, with the teammates, with the coach, with his mentality. It was one of the most unselfish teams that I ever played.
It wasn't about me. If people like me, it was gonna be because of the way I play, not because I was starting or backup. So I was never thinking about that.
We had two different styles. That was hard for teams to prepare for. For us, it was amazing. Even when I went in the game, being able to watch him on the side give defenses problems, and I think that was something that was a strength of ours.
I was one of the few rookies that was playing in a winning team. We had a season that nobody was expecting us to have. This team of international guys, we were pretty good.
I had my most success when I had 6 or 7 European players on my team. One of my assistant coaches asked me, he said, "Coach, do you realize we have 5 guys that played in Europe on the court?" I said, "Alex, you know what I see? I see 5 NBA players that are kicking the other team's ass."
Jorge Garbajosa, I think he exuded what we wanted a Raptor to represent.
He became that guy that I depended on.
He was definitely the heart of the team, the thing that kept everybody together.
I could run a play through him. He could make a shot. He could get a steal. He could defend.
Toughness, grit, a compete level that, he had and he brought every single day.
If I have to take one shot one game, okay. If I have to take 10, 20 next game, okay. We had a lot of fun together because there was a team without ego.
For the players, and for us, it was really an amazing year.
I remember the play vividly. We were in Boston. He turned the ball over and he was chasing the players down. And I jumped up from the bench and I was screaming, "Let it go, let him go."
I remember Jorge screaming, the pain and the nastiness of the injury, even as far as watching it. It was terrible.
A lot of people said, "Where the hell were you going? Try to block the shot." It was my job. I had to do it. My job was to try to do what the team needs in each moment.
It was never about him. It was always about his teammates. And that fateful night when he got hurt, I think it impacted us greatly.
To lose that, you kind of lose a little bit of your heart, the heartbeat that was making the team go.
I honestly believe if Garbajosa don't go down, that we would go deep into the playoffs.
That playoff against New Jersey was too soon. If this playoff happened after 2-3 years playing all together, I'm sure that we beat them. But it was just the first year all playing together. The chemistry was extremely good, but the teams to win needs time.
We were inexperienced. We didn't have much experience about the NBA playoffs, how everything changes, and we lost.
Still here. It's the only one. There's no more in the world. One of the most things that I remember the most is this December 2006 Rookie of the Month. And I feel I was a very special rookie because I was almost 28. But I feel very proud about it. Everything is part of a process. But that injury and that rehab make me a stronger person, a much stronger person. Lola. And I think that happened because it had to happen. And this changed my life. I'm 46 years old now. I have a great life. I have a great family. Today, I am probably the happiest man in the world. Could be somebody as happy as me, but not happier than me.
Do you remember doing a commercial that's...
Yes, I already know what you're talking about.
Before Andrea hits the court, he must be ready for anything. Exercise and drills help Andrea stay game ready, but to be fully prepared, Andrea needs to eat right.
I didn't shot many commercial in my life.
You don't shot it?
No, I don't remember. I shot it. Well, that's not a. Don't be so proud.
With primo pasta and sauce as part of a balanced diet and healthy lifestyle, Andrea can compete game in, game out.
That's gonna stay with me all the rest of my life. Yes. What can I say? It's not much to say. It's history.
Primo pasta and sauce.
Quick and nutritious, simply delicious. Everyone knows it's Primo.
I've never been a media guy. I always sucked really bad at media and in front of the camera. So a lot of people don't know anything about me. They don't know myself. They just don't know me. Looking back, I wanted to play all my career to Toronto. I mean, when I was putting the Toronto jersey, having Toronto here on the chest, Toronto for me is something special. It's not just another city or place where I played. It's still a big part of my life. Canada is still a big part of my life. I look at those memories not in a dramatic way, but in a positive way. I did something unbelievable. I was able to play for the Raptors. It's one of, I'm very proud of it.
He had a lot of responsibility, but if you check the stats, if you check his performance, he did a great job. His career, his performance in Toronto, it is better than what people remember.
He was fun to watch. He was a really, really skilled guy.
I think Andrea Bargnani in modern basketball, in today's basketball, he had an amazing career, but I think he would be even better today.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Bargnani. I do. He's a part of our history as that #1 pick, and I think a little ahead of his time personally.
Looking back, I would have done everything possible to stay in Toronto. Even if when I was traded it was a rough time, I would have done more to try to go through the rough times and stay to Toronto for good.
It was something that was established, I think, within the organization that we're at least willing to, let alone maybe even wanting to, kind of explore the earth to find where that talent might lie.
I remember playing with Rasha, Nesterovic, Hito, Turkoglu, Bellinelli, so many foreign guys, and the first time in my career being able to play with at a high level, but you'll see the fan base that they brought to basketball.
A lot of people, they identify themselves as in Spain, in Serbia, and all over Europe as a fan of Toronto Raptors.
There is still a lot of people that follow the Raptors just because of those years. But not even that, Marc Gasol after Serge Ibaka was there.
This team is reflective of this city in terms of the eclectic and the diverse food and cultures and communities that Toronto offers, and now we're seeing it reflected inside the locker room as well. And I think that brought the team together and helped solidify them.
I found it very, very inspiring, and to have everybody that are part of our history of Toronto Raptors to be representing people from every part of the world, to see our fans come and cheer and support us night in and night out is something very, very special. We're a global team, we're such an international team, and we're going to continue being that and representing all.
Next time on Open Gym. My relationship with Cal is one that's self-explanatory.
And they're brothers. There's no other way to put it.
It was special. You could tell it went far beyond basketball. Something you don't come by often in this league.
They were growing at the same time that the team was in the city and everything together.
Honestly, opposites attract. That's the main thing.
I think to see those two sort of come together and develop sort of a authentic relationship on the court, off the court, with their families.
I wouldn't want to start that thing in Toronto with nobody else other than Cal.